Good morning, students. In today's lecture, we will discuss the derivation of a very important equation named Clausius-Clapeyron equation. Now, first of all, the Clapeyron equation was derived by a scientist named Clapeyron in the 19th century, and this equation is applicable to one component and two phase systems. Now, the equation will be applicable to the equilibrium processes between any two phases, such as solid liquid, liquid vapor, solid solid. So when the solid and liquid are in equilibrium, we call it as a melting process. When liquid and vapor are in equilibrium, we call it as boiling process. When solid and vapor are in equilibrium, we call it as sublimation process. And when different type of solid phases, they are in equilibrium, we call it as phase transition. So Clapeyron equation will be applicable to the two phase system equilibria. Now we will start the derivation here. Suppose a system is in equilibrium, then the free energy change accompanying the process will be 0. So at equilibrium, del G is equal to 0, and the variation of free energy with temperature and pressure is given by the total differential equation as is expressed by the equation 2, in which dG is equal to VdP minus SdT. We already know this equation. We have done it in previous classes also. So variation of free energy with pressure and temperature is given by dG is equal to VdP minus SdT. Now suppose two phases A and B of same pure substance, they are in equilibrium with each other at temperature T and pressure P. Two phases are in equilibrium. As we are seeing in this figure, phase 1 and phase 2, they are in equilibrium at temperature T and pressure P. Now when the temperature is getting changed, the molar free energy of phase 1 and phase 2 is changing from G1 to G1 plus DG1, and phase 2 G2 from G2 to G2 plus DG2. So when the temperature is changing from T and P to T plus DT and P plus DP, the molar free energy of the phases are changing from G1 to G1 plus DG1 and G2 to G2 plus DG2. So we will discuss it in detail to derive the Clausius-Clapeyron equation. Now, same thing is explained here. Suppose molar free energy of phase 1 is G1 and that of phase 2 is G2 at temperature T and pressure P. Now, as the temperature of system is changed from T to T plus DT and pressure from P to P plus DP, the variation of free energy with pressure and temperature is given by the equation dG is equal to VdP minus SdT. So, when the temperature is changing from T to T plus DT and pressure is changing from P to P plus DP, dG1 will be equal to V1 dP minus S1 dt. Similarly, dG2, change in molar free energy G2, that will be equal to V2 dP minus S2 dt. Now here V1 and S1 are what? They are molar volume and molar entropy of phase 1. And V2 and S2 are what? They are molar volume and molar entropy of phase 2. Now, we very well know that these phases are in equilibrium. So, we will apply the equation del G is equal to 0. So, at temperature T and P, when the two phases are having molar free energy G1 and G2, these two phases are in equilibrium, then at temperature T and P, G1 will be equal to G2. G2 minus G1 is equal to 0, which implies G1 is equal to G2. Similarly, at temperature T plus dt and pressure P plus dP, G2 plus Dg2 minus G1 plus Dg1 will be equal to 0. Here again we are applying del G is equal to 0, so we are getting this. Now using the equation 5 and 6, in 5 we are having G2 minus G1 equal to 0, in 6 we are having G2 plus Dg2 minus G1 plus Dg1 equal to 0. From these two equations we are getting Dg2 is equal to Dg1. Dg2 minus Dg1 equal to 0. So variation in G2 is equal to variation in G1 when we are changing the temperature T to T plus dt and pressure P to P plus dP. Now substituting the expression for dg2 and dg1, we are getting here v2 dp minus s2 dt, that is equal to v1 dp minus s1 dt. Now we are taking dp substituents same on the left hand side, where dt substituents on the right hand side. So we are having v2 minus v1 dp, that is equal to s2 minus s1 dt. So from this we can write del v dp, that is equal to del s dt, and we can write dp by dt is equal to del s by del v. This is the change in molar entropy and this is the change in molar volume. So variation of pressure with temperature is equal to the ratio of change in molar entropy to the change in molar volume. Now for thermodynamically reversible process at constant temperature and pressure, we very well know del S is given by Qp by T, where Qp is equal to del H, that is a heat change taking place at constant pressure P, which is enthalpy change. Qp is equal to enthalpy change. This is the heat change at constant pressure P, that is equal to enthalpy change divided by T. So change in molar entropy, that is equal to molar enthalpy of phase transition divided by T, as two phases are in equilibrium. Now for phase transition, what enthalpy change is required? Dividing that by the temperature at which that phase transition is taking place will give you the change in molar entropy. So dp by dt will be equal to del H by T del V. So we are using here well-known formula and substituting the value of del S in this equation, and we are getting the final equation dp by dt, that is equal to del H by T del V. And this equation is known as Clapeyron equation. When we will apply this equation to liquid vapor equilibrium, then the equation derived will be Clausius-Clapeyron equation. Clausius applied this equation to the liquid vapor equilibrium and we got the final equation, that is Clausius-Clapeyron equation, which we will do in the next slides. So first we are applying the Clapeyron equation to the melting equilibrium, solid liquid equilibrium. Now at melting point T is equal to Tm. So dp by dt will be equal to del Hm by Tm into del V. We are substituting in this expression. For the melting process, we are writing del H as del Hm and T as Tm into del V, where del V is equal to molar volume of liquid minus molar volume of solid state, as here solid and liquid are in equilibrium. So we can write it as del Hm by Tm Vl minus Vs. Now dt by dp, that will be equal to Tm into Vl minus Vs divided by del Hm. When we are reversing this equation, dt by dp will be equal to Tm into Vl minus Vs divided by del Hm. So this equation is giving the variation of melting point with the pressure. Now applying the Clapeyron equation to the liquid vapor equilibrium, when the liquid is converting to the vapor. So at the boiling point, T can be written as Tb. So substituting in Clapeyron equation, we are having dp by dt, that is equal to del Hv. Now this is the molar latent heat of vaporization divided by Tb into Vv minus Vl, molar volume in the vapor phase minus molar volume in the liquid phase. So this is a molar latent heat of vaporization, this is a molar volume of vapor, and this is a molar volume of the liquid, and Tb is the boiling point. So applying the Clapeyron equation to the liquid vapor equilibrium, we are getting this equation. Now since Vl is very small as compared to Vv, the molar volume of liquid is very small as compared to molar volume of vapor, so it can be neglected in comparison to Vv, and we can write it as dp by dt is equal to del Hv divided by T Vv. Here we have written Tb as T to generalize the equation in the next for the calculation. So we are writing it Tb as T here, omitting the subscript B in Tb. So we are getting the general expression dp by dt, that is equal to del Hv by T into Vv. Now we are assuming that the vapors are behaving like an ideal gas. In that case, we can write they will follow the ideal gas equation. So VV is equal to RT by P. So molar volume in that case can be written as RT by P. So we have put here RT by P, and we already having del HV by T. T into RT by P means RT square by P. So we are having here RT square by P. Now taking pressure terms on the left hand side, 1 by P dP by dt, that is equal to del HV by RT square. So we can write derivative of log natural P with respect to derivative of temperature, that is equal to del HV by RT square. So this is a Clausius-Clapeyron equation in the differential form. Now we can get this equation in the integrated form, which is more useful. So converting it into the integrated form, we are taking the integration on the both side. We will take this dt on the right hand side, so that we are having temperature terms on one side and pressure term on the other side. Now we are having d log natural P, that is equal to del HV by RT square dt. Now changing the temperature from T1 to T2, when pressure is changing from P1 to P2, we can write it as P1 to P2 d log natural P, that is equal to T1 to T2 del HV by RT square dt. Here we are integrating the equation in the limits T1 to T2 and P1 to P2. So what we are getting here, log natural P2 by P1, that is equal to del HV by R into 1 by T1 minus 1 by T2. Taking del HV by R outside of integration, these are not varying with the temperature. So of integration 1 by T square dt within the limit T1 to T2, we are getting its value 1 by T1 minus 1 by T2. So log of P2 by P1, when we are converting log natural to log 10, we are getting here log P2 by P1, that is equal to del HV by 2.303 R into 1 by T1 minus 1 by T2. So this is the final expression of Clausius-Clapeyron equation in integrated form. Now from this equation, we can know about the various application of Clausius-Clapeyron equation. First one, if the vapor pressure of a liquid at two different temperatures are known, the latent heat of vaporization of liquid can be calculated. If we know about the P1, P2 and T1, T2, we can easily calculate the molar latent heat of vaporization. Second thing, if the boiling point of a liquid is known at some particular pressure P, the boiling point at another temperature, at any other pressure can be calculated if we know the latent heat of vaporization. So we can find out the value of T2 at P2 if we know the value of T1 at P1 and del HV, molar latent heat of vaporization. So boiling point can be determined at any other pressure if we know its value at some pressure and we also know the molar latent heat of vaporization. Third thing, if the vapor pressure of a liquid is known at one particular temperature, the value at any other temperature can be calculated provided latent heat of vaporization. So in reverse, we can say we can find out the value of P2 at T2 if we know the value of P1 at T1 and we also know the value of molar latent heat of vaporization. So these all are the applications of Clausius-Clapeyron equation. On the basis of this, we can easily do the numericals here which have been given for the practice. So you can go through these numericals for the practice and you can easily find out the applications of Clausius-Clapeyron equation. So this is all about the today's lecture. The next topics we will continue in the next lecture.